What's good, y'all? It's your boy J Suave. I am the host of J Suave TV. And I know Power Week was last week, but we gotta continue into this week. I'm sorry. Y'all already know I owe y'all an episode breakdown video real soon, coming this week. Even got another video that I'm thinking about doing, breaking down the scene between RAQ and Jukebox in that diner. That shit deserves a thorough investigation. Haley Kilgore and Patina Miller were acting their asses off in this scene. But before I get to those two videos, I need to rewatch the episode. Still haven't done it yet. I'm trying to do that today, maybe tomorrow. But in the meantime, while I work on doing that, I'm gonna get y'all this video. Going over a little fun what if scenario on if Kanan were to actually have shot RAQ in the season 4 finale. What the blowback of a major decision like that would look like for Kanan and the rest of the Thomas family. And just how geek RAQ's ops would be if she were actually taken out. Now I'm gonna just get my thoughts on the whole Kanan shooting RAQ situation out the way right now. There's no world where I believe Kanan actually shot RAQ in that finale. My first reason for thinking this is that the screen went to black before we even seen Kanan pull the trigger on the gun. Before we heard the gun go off, the screen was black for a cool 5 seconds. Anything could have happened in that 5-second interval. 2, if Kanan were to have shot RAQ, what would have been the harm in us seeing him do that? We've already got 4 seasons worth of build up to this moment if we're being for real. And even if you didn't want to count past seasons, we have 10 episodes in this season alone where we see this tension between RAQ and Kanan brewing. To the point we get to in this episode where Kanan's finally ready to up the pole on his mother. He ain't never do nothing like this before. Shit reminds me of when Ghost got shot in like episode 8 of the final season of OG Power. And we had to wait another 8 episodes before we found out who actually shot Ghost. They was really promoting this shit like this. It had 8 suspects on who could have killed Ghost. 6 of them suspects being people who could never lift a pole to Ghost and live to tell the next man they did that shit the next day. I will argue that that situation was ridiculous. And I think this blackout shit was done mainly to ensure that fans come back for season 5. I think they would have came back for season 5 anyway, but I digress. My third and final reason for thinking this is that I think people are forgetting that Jukebox made a call to somebody before Kanan left his crib that night. I'm jacking that whoever Jukebox made this call to in this episode might have been the person on the other end of that bullet. At the end of the day, the screen went to black. We don't even know if Kanan was the one to shoot. Even though I think he did. I just don't think he shot RAQ personally. Whoever Jukebox called probably pulled up to the house. He ain't know no one was coming, so he shot them thinking that they was probably gonna try to F up his hit on RAQ. Now, the only person I could think that Jukebox would call in this moment would be her father Marvin. And how effed up would it be if Kanan shot and potentially took out his own uncle right as he was about to take out his mother? This family is all fucked up. But yeah, in this video, I'm not even asking the question of if RAQ is dead because in my mind, she's not. Now, there's been reports going around of Patina Miller's potentially leaving Raising Kanan, and that's why they set all this up in the season 4 finale. I personally cannot believe that this is the case. We know Raising Kanan is the last season of this series. We also have Patina Miller confirm she's coming back for season 5 when season 5 was first announced before season 4 was even playing on TV. So yeah, miss me with all that. And I find it extra funny that we have a character in this cast who essentially did the same thing in Joey Badass. This man Unique said that when Ronnie put the beats on him, he was done with the series. Just for him to be right back on them blocks in season 4 episode 1. Hell, before then, my son popped up in the season 3 finale. Couldn't get enough of power. He had to let everybody know he's still standing on business before we even got into season 4. So yeah, as far as I'm concerned, RAQ is not dead. And on the slightest chance she was dead, she's gonna come back as an after image in season 5. The voice of reason to Kanan, if you will. Anyway, all that talk aside on how I'm feeling about how the finale ended, I'll give more thoughts on that in my breakdown of the finale episode coming this week. We want to get into this what if on what if Kanan actually did shoot RAQ dead. Just to go over how much the landscape would change if RAQ was removed from the chessboard. Now, off rip, if Kanan did shoot RAQ, the whole dynamic of the Thomas family changes right then and there. For starters, his relationship with Marvin and Lou is cooked. Especially after that conversation that Lou had with him earlier on in the episode, which by the way, I do not think he helped with that conversation at all. I think bro thought he was cooking, but what he really was doing was just fanning the flames that Kanan already had set on taking out his mom. And I think he'd go back to that conversation and realize, damn, I really put this thought in Kanan's head. Tried to big up his moms, but he seen that in a whole other light than I expected him to see it. Damn. Marvin would also be tight. He'd probably try to put the beats on Kanan. We already know he'd been screaming to the high heaven saying that Kanan should have been meant the other end of a belt long time ago. And Jukebox, that goes without saying. The family would never be the same and they would not jack Kanan at all anymore. Now, if they would come after Kanan after this, I don't really think so. Now, obviously, we know Kanan survives to see the OG power and things of that nature. And as hard as it is for me to believe that neither Lou, Marvin, or Jukebox will retaliate in RAQ's death, we have seen this happen before in Power Ghost. How many times did Tommy have Tariq dead to rights after what he did to Ghost and just never pulled the trigger on him? You can call it plot armor or whatever you want, but it's a lot harder to take out a family member than people will give it credit for. And yes, it is just a TV show, but they gotta make it believable, y'all. As messed up as it is constantly seeing these kids take their parents out in Power, I think the series always does a great job of building up that tension between child and parent to kind of warn it in a fucked up way. I think all parties involved have an understanding of Kanan and RAQ's effed up relationship up to this point, and it won't justify in their eyes what Kanan did to her. But obviously Kanan's not dead in the original Power, so they didn't do as much as they probably could have did to take bro off the board. In other news though, if Kanan were to take out RAQ, this solidifies his relationship with Snaps and Pops even further than it already was. Not only did he get the biggest obstacle out of their way in order to continue expanding their organization, but now they see that they really can control Kanan. You had Jukebox this whole episode trying to convince bro, listen, Bonnie and Cloud are steering you the wrong way. You need to look at this from other perspectives. But if Kanan took out his mom, clearly he listened to them to some degree. So they'll know for a fact that they can control him going forward. And this would have happened at the best time, now bringing Breeze into the organization and potentially Unique too. Who is seeing this union? Nobody. Nobody in Power Book 3, much less prior to the Power Universe, wants to fuck with this big 3 plus Snaps and Pop. With RAQ off the board, it's gonna make it so much harder to counteract any of the moves that they trying to make. When we're talking about RAQ being off the board, we gotta talk about Unique. Now, a lot of y'all probably would think Unique would be lit seeing RAQ off the board, something he's been plying since the beginning of the season, but I think he'd be a little bit torn, just off the sense that he wasn't the one to perform the hit. As much as I want to say RAQ being off the board would be a good thing to Unique, he has a lot of other things to worry about. His Jersey Connect is kinda on the ropes right now, and that's the biggest draw for Snaps and Pops to want to include him in their organization. On top of that, Lou just picked up Pernessa in the last episode, so even if RAQ is dead, Lou still has Pernessa and Jerome in his clutches. So Unique not gonna have that much time to celebrate. He gotta go get his family. Now, I know I said earlier that Kanan would not receive no retaliation from his family after killing his mom, and while I still do hold true to that, people are going to feel the smoke of the Thomas family, no doubt. They can't go into a corner right now. They're still in the middle of a war. I definitely see Lou and Marvin dropping off more bodies than they probably would have with RAQ in their corner, telling them to chill out for a little bit, assess the situation. They just lost their sister. They not assessing shit. If RAQ were to have gotten shot and killed by Kanan, Marv and Lou already know that they don't have that much time to waste. They gotta make a big move. Even the playing field even a little bit, because they didn't even know Breeze got introduced in this episode. They don't even know who Breeze is and what he means for this series, so they gotta move quick. I think the logical thing to do here would be to take Unique off the board first, because he's been the biggest cancer to the organization since the beginning of the season, so he gotta go first. Getting to Snaps and Pops is gonna be the hard part. Now, we know RAQ had cops on her payroll to help her out in certain situations, keep her protected in the streets. I think Marvin and Lou would have to learn how to communicate with them to get them on their side as well. Specifically Marvin, we know bro is a crash out, and we know Lou's a Dragon Slayer, so they're gonna have to work their magic in order to get the cops on their side as well. If they have any chance of getting a hit on Snaps and Pops who stay in a restaurant, they could tell Kanan to get the drop on them as well, but I think that's kind of sloppy considering we already know Snaps and Pops have cops on their payroll as well. So if they get caught in this hit in a messy way, they're gonna serve a lot of jail time, and they're probably not making it to see the end of their sentence. I know Marvin be out here slaying an average of 1 person per episode in this series, but he don't got that level of plow armor. I'm sorry. Like I said, with Kanan, his relationship with his family would be over with. This event will probably lead to Jukebox and Kanan having that fight where she leaves that scar on his neck, and they don't communicate with each other for X amount of years up until the original Power. Considering we already know Patina Miller should be a part of the series going into season 5, I think one thing we would see if Kanan did actually kill his mom with this shooting would just be images of Patina Miller popping up every other episode, where he's experiencing these activities that he associated his mother with, learning that she wasn't all that bad when she was alive. Yeah, the thing she did was effed up and it cost him a lot of people that he loved, but I think along the way he would learn to take accountability for his actions and see why RAQ had to do the things that she ended up doing. Relate back to the conversation that Lou had with him earlier on in the episode. I always say the one thing about this series that I think sets it apart from all the other spin-offs, even the original Power at points, is the writing and how they build up these character relationships throughout these seasons. I was having a conversation with my family some months ago regarding the growth of Kanan in this series, how it's slow, how they want to see him become a drug lord ASAP. But if he was to do all those things you wanted from him out the gate, what else would we have to look forward to throughout the series? I think a cool thing that could come out of Kanan potentially killing his moms is that perspective that he would gain. But really round out his growth to understand that his actions have consequences that he can't always blame other people for those actions. One thing you can't deny is the similarities between the characters of Tariq and young Kanan. While I do feel like Kanan is more justified for potentially doing what he did to his mom than Tariq would have done to Ghost, I still have to understand that their actions are what led them to the positions that they're in. Whether it was Kanan putting bad drugs in the street, being associated with D-Wiz dropping off Boy in the first episode of the series, versus Tariq being wrapped up with Kanan, Ray Ray, and Jukebox, which led Ray Ray to killing Raina and had Reek killing Ray Ray, which led him to kill his pops because his pops wanted him to serve that time in jail as opposed to him because he had the whole thing with the government, everything like that. That said though, maybe I'm holding out too much hope for Kanan to realize these things about himself. His actions actually do hold weight, ironic being the title of the episode. especially when we look at his actions in the original Power series, but a man can dream. That's all I got for y'all for this video, though. Y'all leave y'all thoughts in the comments on if y'all believe Kanan actually shot RAQ or not. And if he did, how do you see this series moving forward with a major character like RAQ now off the board? Leave y'all thoughts in the comments. I've been your host, Jay Suave. We've been entertained. We're going to talk soon. Peace.